You are one wrong ad format from entirely tanking your meta ads. I'm Fraser, I'm one of the co-founders of Fraggle, and we build high-performance creative for 7, 8, and 9-figure D2C brands. And today I'm going to show you exactly how to pick the right ad type for the right funnel stage so that every single one of your ads is actually doing the right job. So let's talk about how creative actually appears. We have static ads and we have video ads. Static ads are images with clear copy and a clear CTA on them. They're quick and easy to produce and even faster to test. And they're most effective further down the funnel when people already know you exist. So here are the main static subtypes. And we'll kick off with the first one, which is offer-led statics. These are essentially sales-focused statics with the core idea to advertise your offer. The only reason why this ad style exists is to let people know that your product is on offer. There's so many different ways that you can present this. You can have just text on the screen, you can have images, whatever you want. But the core idea here, you have your offer somewhere. So this example that we made for Humantra for their Black Friday event, stock up for less, 25% off your favorite electrolytes, subscribe and save 30%. This couldn't be any simpler. We have copy on the screen as well as a product image. You really don't need anything fancy. Literally the core idea of this is to get people who are on the fence to purchase. Product benefits, these ones are an essential in every single ad account. The idea here is to show the benefits that a user can get from your product. These can come in many different forms. It can be a list view, it can be a call out view, but the core idea is that we link your products to the benefits. So in this example here that we have for Untamed, we can see that we are calling out the 0 fillers, the 15 times more meat, the 2 times more protein. It's the benefits that come along with the product. These are probably one of the most popular type of ad that you will see in any ad account. Now this one, again, super popular, but mostly within certain niches. The before and after. This is a legendary format because not only is it incredibly powerful in health and wellness brands, but also, it stands on dodgy territory because Meta doesn't really like these. They don't want you to visually show a before and after because it's so easy to fake and fall into false advertising claims. So you really do have to be careful when you make these. But the core idea is that you are visually showing a simple transformation. Again, very popular in skincare industries where you show people with acne and then without acne. For this example here from Biotica, we showed one person bloating and then we showed the person after they've had Biotica. Really simple, literally with and without, 2 images right next to each other. These do not need to be complicated. You just need to show what it was like before people took your product and what it's like after. But again, please do be careful when you're using these because very easily you can get them taken down. You can get your ad account banned. I've seen some horrible scenarios. Now, one of my favorites, review statics. Now, reviews in general are possibly one of the most important parts of creative strategy. Not only do they inspire us for some great angles, but we can also use them directly within our ad creative. So like for this one, for Hydroleach that we did, we literally took a quote from their website of one of the reviews and we put it over a product image. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. The idea is that we take one of your reviews and we just show it to people to prove to them how great your product is. This is fantastic for social proof. It's brilliant for giving people more confidence in your product and you as a brand. You can take a full quote, you can take a section of a quote, whatever works, pair it with a star rating or a Trustpilot logo, and happy days. Now, an ad format for statics that is becoming more and more popular, and that is the organic looking static. Here's an example that we made for Humantra, and at first glance, if you see this, it looks like something that you would see someone post on Instagram stories. It's got the same fonts, it's got the same kind of POV style, it just looks genuine. And this is a trend that I'm seeing brands more and more fall towards when it comes to statics. Less branded, more organic looking. And this is a great example, and it took 5 minutes to put together. And again, this example here from the black stuff, this was a Reddit post that we print screened and ran as an ad. It couldn't have been more simple to create, but because it's so organic, because people are familiar with a certain graphic type or visual layout, it just feels like there's no pressure there as an ad. It's almost exactly the way that UGC used to be back in the early days. People used to pay attention to it because it looked like something that they see from an influencer. But now that that time has kind of passed, it's kind of gone over to statics instead. So we're seeing more Instagram story looking images. We're seeing statics that take a little less effort, and they are performing incredibly well across the board for our clients. If you do want a deeper breakdown on how to make fantastic static ads, then I've actually done a static ads masterclass. You can watch that video up here somewhere on the screen. Okay, now my favorite bit, my bread and butter video ads. Guys, before we go any further, I want to give a big thank you to Omnisend for sponsoring this portion of the video. All the e-com brands that I see scaling with serious numbers have one thing in common, and that is they have a ton of automations running behind the scenes. This isn't optional anymore. Most brands have automations running, sure. However, usually the segmentation is pretty weak and there's no real automation behind it. And what's even worse is most e-commerce brands don't even realize that they're losing 30 to 50% of the revenue that they could be making with email and SMS. And that is where Omnisend comes in. It fills that gap. They offer drag and drop emails, they've got pre-bill automations, and most importantly, proper revenue tracking. You can send a welcome flow, an abandoned cart email, and even birthday campaigns in minutes. And most importantly, they have SMS built right in. No extra tools, no weird integrations, it's just all there. And what's really cool is it's worldwide, and it works alongside your emails just like SMS should do. I've paired with Omnisend to give you 30% off your first 3 months. All you need to do is use the code Fraser30 at checkout or use the link below. Go check them out and see what real clean email and SMS can do for your business. Now, back to the video. I have been making video ads for a very, very long time, and so I'm going to break down some of the formats that I think are essential inside your ad account. The idea behind video ads is it gives you more context to build emotion and to tell a story and to visually sell your product. They allow you to set up your product in a real world scenario that relates to your customer. And here are the main formats that we probably create every single day at Fraggle. Kicking off with the first one, which is a UGC style selfie video. You see these in every single ad account ever. It's a creator holding their phone, talking to the camera, often interlaced with B-roll and captions on screen. The idea is that they come across natural because the creator is talking directly to the customer in a language that they understand. They work great because it feels like the customer is hearing from someone just like them and not the brand. They're often shot on your iPhone, not using any fancy production techniques, just very raw and real. So take this example that we made here, right? The creator is in the car. It feels very natural and authentic, and they are literally going through and they're tasting all these different bars. And really the only editing that we're doing here is just jump cuts. It just feels natural. It feels like something that you'll consume on TikTok. So UGC style, fantastic, but only when done right. Now, the next format you should probably look at if you've got UGC nailed is the product demo. Again, such a key staple of every single ad account. If you go and look at Temu, for example, these guys are the king of product demos. The idea is literally to make an ad where we're just showing your product in use. It can be UGC footage, it can be professionally shot footage, whatever it is, that is a product demo. These, again, so popular on TikTok Shop. If you have a visually impressive product that does something cool, then just showing it on camera is often enough to get people to click and purchase. Nuve is a great brand that we work with that their bread and butter is demo videos, because if you just saw the product on its own without being used, you wouldn't know what it was or if it was any good. But the second that you start to use it, you realize this thing is crazy. So that's why pretty much every single video that we make for Nuve includes a ton of product demo footage. And that's why we were able to grow them by like 70% last year. So we've got product demos, we've got UGC. Now let's layer in an element of trust with founder videos. These are some of my favorite videos to make because it just really blends itself to storytelling. And as someone that is a trained filmmaker, storytelling is my thing. The core concept of a founder video is to get the founder to explain why they made the product. What problem were they having that they needed a solution for? We make a lot of these for the black stuff. Why? Because he has an interesting story to tell. This can either be a voiceover from the founder or it can be a selfie video from the founder, whatever it is. You just need to make sure that you mix in loads of footage, archive footage if you can do of them, like, you know, first making the prototypes or them in meetings or them in the factory, them doing the thing, making the product, showing up. That's the kind of stuff that really works. And if you want An even bigger nugget, include some customer testimonials in there as well. Reach out to your customers, get them to record videos and send them to you and place them inside your founder videos. Absolute dynamite. You want to build trust here. This especially works for higher consideration products, things that are quite expensive or out of the ordinary expensive. For example, most people are used to spending a couple of dollars on a block of soap, whereas the black stuff is a little more expensive. But him telling you why he made it and why it's so great makes you understand the price. It makes the purchase easier. It removes some of the friction. Now, skit content. This can take a couple of different forms. The first one being like a high production piece, for example, but then the other one can be like a UGC video like we have here that we made for the Foldy. The idea is some kind of entertainment, light-hearted advertisement. Personally, I think these work better when they're UGC because people do this kind of content on TikTok anyway, so it blends in very nicely into the feed. They work great when you want to highlight one core objective or benefit of the product. For example, how much more space the Foldy has compared to other bags. Now, if you are going to do skits, you really need a good cast. The actress in this is incredible. She did such a great job. She nailed the brief, and that's what it's about. If you give this to someone who doesn't have any history in acting or, just the brief isn't right for them, it will be a flop. Now, a format that we've probably spoke about on this channel more than any, and that is the mashup. I am a firm believer that if you are a brand and you are not collecting your raw footage into an archive, you are missing out massively. The reason for this is because there is money in your old footage. There is money sitting in your Dropbox because you might work with a creator. They might send you a finished video, or if you're like what we do, they send you the raw footage and you edit it. Do not let that footage go to waste. Recycle it and add it into more ads. It is an absolute godsend when we work with a brand and they link us to a well-organized Google Drive of loads of footage of different formats, different places with no captions on, with no music. It's just raw footage. It's incredible because then we can make videos just like this example. We can mash stuff together. We can put captions over the top. We can make anything basically. But the core idea with mashup ads is they are quick and easy to make, so you can iterate very fast, and also you can try out new messaging. And actually mashups are pretty close to what I call the mini VSL. This is a 1 minute to 1 minute 30 piece of video, which is mixing a ton of different formats, a load of different footage, along with a story and a great script to persuade people and educate people on why your product is great. Now, this example from Leaf is one of the top performers in their account and has been for a while, and you can see why. It ticks every single box. It educates people on why the Leaf Fraser is the best option for shaving your body. And it also explains why what you're using now isn't the best idea. Again, the script is so vital with this. With a bad script, you're gonna have a bad video. And often enough, when we're doing these mini VSLs, we normally hire a voiceover artist instead of opting for an AI voiceover. The reason for that is because I really feel like you can get more emotion with a real voiceover artist. It might cost you a couple of $100s, but it is well worth it. Now, the final ad that I want to touch on is fake podcast ads. These had a real surge at like the beginning of the year, and they have continued to be a staple in a lot of people's ad accounts. I think the reason for this is because it gives an excuse to add some high production into your ad account. Instead of having a high glossy production video or a long VSL, you can have these short little podcast ads which kind of serve the purpose of both. And when they're done correctly, they look like a real podcast, they sound like a real podcast, they can perform pretty well. Where brands go wrong with these is they will hire a UGC creator, get them to buy some cheap microphone off Amazon, and then film it in their living room. It looks like trash. It doesn't look believable. It's rubbish. Instead, you need to film them properly. You need structure. You need a good script, and you need a great cast. As you can see, static ads are there for clarity and control, but video ad gives you the depth. It gives you the context and the personality and the storytelling. Both have their place, and if you use them properly in your ad account, you will be able to print. Now, the trick here is to match the right format with the right stage of the customer journey. Because if you mismatch that, then that's where users can start to drop off. So normally people fall into different stages of the customer journey. The first one is problem unaware. These people have no idea the problem that you have a solve for even exists. They might be experiencing symptoms without connecting them to a clear cause. They don't understand it. A good example of this might be a teenager who's getting acne for the first time. They don't understand what the problem is. They just see spots on their face. And your job is to make their situation feel familiar so that they can recognize themselves in the video and learn about the problem. The messaging of these ads should focus around people looking at the ad and going, hey, that's me. And then once they know the problem, they turn into problem-aware customers. They understand the problem, finally. And now your job is to highlight that problem and why a fix is so important. UGC demos, testimonial ads, all these kind of things build together all the little puzzle pieces that make people feel the problem and want a fix for it. It's friction, it's inconvenience, it's emotion. You want to build all these things together. So you need to make sure that your ads match that. Now, next up is solution aware. These people know that a solution exists. They understand that. Now, your job here is to compare the different solutions with yours coming out on top so that you can advertise the product to them. This is often the part of the customer journey that people don't quite understand. They go straight from like problem aware to product aware. They miss out the solution aware. And this is where us versus them statics can come into play, because people understand that there are solutions out there, but they just don't know what's right for them. So again, we're educating the customer, but this time we're educating them, kind of setting them up to pitch them. We're starting to introduce them to your brand, to the product, what it stands for, what it does, how it works. We're answering all the questions that are going around in their head. Now, product aware, these people know you exist. They know that potentially you're the right choice for them, but they haven't purchased yet. They might have visited your site. They might have watched some of your previous videos. They might have searched you out on social. They might have read some reviews, because your job right now is to build trust, because there's something getting in the way of them buying this product. It could be clarity of what your product is or the benefits. It could be social proof. They don't trust you. Whatever it is, you need to make sure you have ad creative to address that. One of the biggest hurdles here is price. So make some ad creative. Make a mini VSL about why your product is the price that it is. Make a founder video that does the same thing. Have review statics mixed in there so people see that they're not the only person suffering from this problem that have found you as a solution. The final stage is most aware. These people are literally about to fall off the cliff and the cliff is buying your product. This is where offer statics come in, because normally people haven't purchased at this stage because they feel like it's a big investment and they don't want to do it. And so if you give them an offer that is so good that they can't say no, they will become a customer. Conversion focused creatives are the best here. We don't need to waste time re-educating these people. Instead, we need to give them a reason to purchase. Now, you know everything you need to know, but what about picking the right ad creative? So once you've figured out what stage people are at, then how do you know what creative to make? So I think this next step is the one that people struggle with the most. They instantly go to Ad Manager and they start to set up all these complicated campaigns based on these awareness levels. And that's not the right thing to do, because Meta is going to push these ads to whoever they believe they work for best. So what I do at Fraggle is I make sure the client has creative that fits every single one of these awareness levels. And then they load them into the ad account and we let Meta decide. Because even though you might be the best marketer ever, you might have made a problem aware video that actually is more of a solution aware video. Meta will tell you, the customer will tell you. But how do you make sure that the creative that you're making is right for the funnel type? Well, I'm going to be honest, you kind of don't. You can experiment and you can learn all this stuff, but there's no real code. I've seen static ads work well in the middle of the funnel, but I often see them work in the bottom of the funnel. I've seen UGC videos work very well for problem aware, but I've also seen them work really well for most aware. It really does depend. It is the marketer's answer. It depends. Honestly, that is the answer. The only way that you're going to get better at this is just by testing. Get out there, make videos of all these different formats, make them live and see what happens. Now you have all these systems in place, fantastic. You know the formats, you know the funnel stages, you know how to choose the right one. And so if you like this video, then you need to make sure that you hit subscribe, because if you want to level up your creative, then this is the place to be. In fact, if you want to learn how to make better hooks, then you can watch my best hook video. That's really going to help if you're struggling with attracting the right attention. And if you happen to be a brand spending over 70,000 on ads, let's have a chat. Scan the QR code on the screen or click the apply link down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.